Cooking for ORC TV. We are at the Council on Aging, and we are making, I kind of came up with this recipe, and I've been making a lot of buffalo chicken dip. Anybody like buffalo chicken dip? No hint. Okay, some yeses. Okay, love it. And then I was like, wow, this would be good in a pasta, but without the buffalo seasoning, like without the kick. Just like the creaminess and just like, and then I evolved it into, okay, how about ranch, in there too, like a powdered ranch instead of like the ranch dressing. And so I just kind of developed this in my head, made it, and got a lot of hits on Facebook and Instagram that said, oh my gosh, I want the recipe. So this is the one pot chicken ranch pasta. So it all comes together pretty quickly. It's got some, pasta, the chicken, the bacon, ranch dressing, some cheddar cheese, and some spinach in it, just to add a little bit of healthy in just a little bit. Okay, so, and if you want this recipe, by the way, you're just going to go to either my blog or my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/whatslindacooking, or you can go onto my blog, which is whatslindacooking, okay? Because I'll get it up there too. So we're gonna light this. This is always my hardest part of the whole endeavor. There we go. So we got this lit, and got that, and we just have some bacon in there, okay? So just already kind of cooked up, and now I'm gonna put my gloves on because I hate raw chicken. Anybody else with me? Hate raw chicken. Hate touching raw chicken. Yeah, you can't get it off your hands. It's just, So here, I like to put on some gloves. Am I putting this on wrong? I'm putting this on wrong. Another hard part of cooking, if you have to wear some gloves. So I just got whatever chicken was on sale, and this was the market basket. No antibiotic stuff, and they all say that now, don't they? They all say all natural. Yeah, I think they all say that. So I think they're afraid to put down that our chickens eat all kinds of artificial stuff. So right? They're all saying. Well, they say that, and I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. And so I'm just cubing up these. Now, if you don't want to cube these up like that, some people will use tenders for this type of thing, but I find tenders kind of expensive. So, not using tenders for this, just going to use the chicken. And I normally buy my chicken. My daughter's boyfriend just started a PhD program, and he's got his apartment, trying to figure out what pricing of meats and stuff like that. And I keep on saying I'm going to write up a whole thing, which I do have it someplace in an old file or an old computer. My prices for actually buying things like meat, like what's the highest that I will pay, and normally for at home it's $1.99 for a serious chicken breast. That's the highest I'll pay for it. But you can get it sometimes for $1.69 or what have you. So we're just cutting these up really quickly. Let's get this like this. Just cube it. Now you can cook this ahead of time. And then just shred it if you wanted to. I don't want to do that. What I have is some powdered ranch dressing. Okay, I don't use a lot of powdered stuff like this, but on this one I just decided to use this. If you do not like the powdered stuff like this, you can get buttermilk, like powdered buttermilk, and put your own seasonings in it. And we're just going to kind of coat that. And then throw this into where, and there's some oil left over, some grease left over from the bacon. And you can see that the bacon is all nice and crisp in here. I'm going to put whatever else is in there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to quickly saute that, okay? And it's not going to totally cook all the way through. And that's okay, because there's another step to this whole thing. And you know what I'm going to do just to add a little bit more seasoning? I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and onion. Because I think my other batches, because I'm cooking for about 30 people at the Council on Aging, I actually have to make up a batch ahead of time. And I didn't use the whole, I used one spice packet for the entire thing. So you're not going to use the entire spice packet when you're using it. You're probably going to use about a third of the spice packet, okay? But I think I used a little bit more on the other one, so I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of onion powder. And if you don't want to use the powdered stuff, guess what? You can saute some onions, put that in here if you wanted to. You can add some fresh garlic to this, that's okay. It's a very, very forgiving recipe, okay? We're just gonna add that. I'm gonna swirl that around, get that nice and coated. And this is gonna be fairly quick, that this is going to kind of brown and all of that. But like I said, this doesn't have to totally cook all the way through. I'm gonna turn them over just to get the other side kind of brown. And I love one-pot meals because they're just like, I hate washing dishes. Who hates washing dishes? Okay, like everybody is, okay? Because, and a lot of times, like this skillet can go into the dishwasher, but I don't put it in the dishwasher. So I only have one pan to wash, that's a good thing. And then I always make, I think those of you who have watched me a lot know that I always make extras because my daughter and my husband take them, my daughters and my husband take them to work every day for that reason and so forth. So I've got a little bit of cream cheese here. And I am going to actually start the process of melting it. I'm going to pull that to the side a little bit. And I'm going to put some cream cheese. This is going to give it that nice creamy texture. Okay? I know someone's looking at it like, oh my gosh, this is not going to be a diet recipe. No, it's not. Not going to be a diet recipe at all. So instead of using my knife, I'm just going to take a little chunk of it and put it in there. And this is going to melt, and I'm going to incorporate it into the chicken. And this is going to give us that finish, because you know when you do a buffalo chicken dip, or a chicken dip like that, it always has cream cheese in it. So that's why I started with this cream cheese mixture. And this is why my husband was like, on this recipe, and my daughter, well, because my husband doesn't eat cream cheese, nor does he like dip. So I couldn't take his word for the whole thing because I knew that the way he eats, I knew that this wasn't going to be one of his favorites. Okay, so that's going to start sauteing now. And when I'm at home, I kind of lick my fingers. Here, I can't do that. Anybody else lick their fingers at home? Yes, yes. Because you're only feeding for your family. You're testing it. I know you are. Thanksgiving dinner, you're testing everything, and you know, yeah, I know. And that's why we're not hungry when it comes time for Thanksgiving dinner, right? How many people cook their Thanksgiving dinner and you sit down and like, no, it's not going to happen. Okay? Because that's because we're tested. But when I'm cooking for other people, I can't, other people that's not my family, I can't do that. So I feel like I'm family here. I've been doing this for over 10 years, I think. I think on TV about 6 years. That's with Rob. Just reminded you. He keeps he does all the technical stuff and runs the station. Without Rob, we have station. Okay, so I'm gonna now start mixing this all in. And I'm just gonna lower this just a little bit. Because I don't want it to burn. And the bacon, now here's the thing. I leave the bacon in there. One of the things you could do is you could save the bacon and then put it on top. But I like that whole bacon flavor throughout the whole pasta dish, and that's why I do that. Okay? So now we're going to add a little bit of stock. And this was a new product I saw, unsalted chicken stock. So that's why, I want to add my own. So we've got this, and I'm just going to add this, and it's going to look a little bit lumpy and stuff. but it's gonna come together really, really nicely. Let's put that in. There we go. And that's about 4 cups. It's about 4 cups of stock, okay? Because I'm doing a double recipe. I'm doing a double recipe. They're all looking at the recipe and saying, wait a second, it says 2. That's because I'm doing more of a double recipe, okay? So you'll notice I'll put a whole box of pasta in there versus just a half a box, okay? So we're gonna mix this in a little bit, and it's okay. It's gonna all come together. Now I'm gonna bump it up again. And I forgot my cover to this. You kind of need a cover to your skillet, and I forgot mine. So I'm gonna use another cover that totally does not fit, but that's okay. Okay, so this is coming a little bit together, so that's good. Okay, so now this is one pot. Okay, so I'm gonna put dried pasta in. Yeah, it's gonna be nice, one pot, so you don't have to like drain the pasta and all that. Some of you are freaking out and saying, oh no, you can't do that. Okay? One of the things that I know, my niece lives with me, and one of the things that drives me crazy, she's vegan. And I have some really great vegan. Maybe I'll do vegan recipes. Just throw Rob a little lob over there so he can have some of my food, because he never gets to eat any of my food because he's vegetarian. But my niece is vegan, which is far worse than vegetarian. Worse in the sense of, harder to go for. So, where was I going with this? Oh, so, my sister's daughter, so she should know how to cook pasta. Nope, when she cooks pasta, she puts the water in and she puts the pasta in and boils it that way. Now, for this meal, you want the starch and everything, so you're going to do that. But normally, when I'm making spaghetti, I don't do that. So I told her one day, I said, listen, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm cooking pasta. I'm like, no, that's not how you cook pasta. And I know your mother doesn't cook it that way. And she's like, well, this is the way I cook it. So every time she cooks it, I go a little crazy. Okay, so we're going to incorporate, and these little bits of there's little bits of cream cheese in there, that's all gonna melt together, okay? So I'm gonna put a cover on this in a second. Now, you can either do this at the end or you can do it in the beginning. I'm doing this in the beginning, okay? I'm gonna add some spinach, okay? Now, and one of my friends back there, she's looking at me like, oh, spinach. Yes, spinach. You know what? My husband, when I got him, he came to me, he only ate corn. That was the extent of his veggies, okay? And he did not eat salads either because he was the salad boy at that steakhouse, okay? So that was one of the things, that was one of his jobs. So those of you who have been around here for a while know what I'm talking about when I talk about that steakhouse. And those of you who are back, right, know what I'm talking about when I talk about that steakhouse. So he wouldn't eat any of that. Now he eats this stuff. It took me, okay, we're coming up on 31 years, okay? It took me a long time, but he's starting to eat more veggies. So we're gonna put this on. I forgot my regular one. I'm gonna lower that down because I don't need it quite so high. And every once in a while I'm gonna stir it. You're gonna see those wilt down. The spinach is just gonna collapse onto itself and wilt down. Okay, and that's good. Now I'm gonna pull this one up. Okay. This is the one that has been. It might be solidified. So let me see. No, it's not bad. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of stuff to this. So this is what it looks like when it's all cooked out and all of the pasta is done. But we're not quite done with this. So I'm going to put this back on. Come back over here. Because of course we need to add more cheese. As if there's not enough in this. More cheese. We're going to add some cheese. It's a mix. Let's move this off. I'm forgetting. This is even though everything's going to be cooked again. Okay, so it's sharp and medium. So I was like, well, I really don't want medium and I really don't want extra sharp. So I'm gonna put it together. So, and you know how sometimes I do when I'm cooking here, I'll have to use the bags of cheese because it's just, it's just a little bit easier. But I have to tell you, I hate using bags of cheese. At home, I try to use a block of cheese because here's the thing. Sometimes I don't know if I want sliced cheese or shredded cheese. So why not just get the block and then you have the best of both worlds and you don't have all the yucky stuff. Remember, yucky is a technical cooking term, okay? So you do not have to, you don't have all that cellulose powder and which is like wood milk, okay? But if you notice, when you do it, shred it yourself, it's a little bit more like I can kind of put this into a ball like that. The shredded stuff that comes in a bag, you're not going to be able to do that, okay? And this also will just melt so much faster too, okay? So I actually will just kind of grate it as I need it, okay? And I try, a lot of times, this is the only one they have in the medium, I try not to get the yellow stuff either. I don't know, I just think that there's more garbage, another technical cooking term, that's in there. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this, big water. Oh, I forgot that. Do this over here. There we go, just stay right there. Okay, so we're going to put this in here. Yeah, remember, this is for a lot of people though. Yeah, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to vigorously. Yes. So you would probably do half of what I've got in here. No, in there, I'm saying. Not, this pot is like 4 times the amount that I would normally do. Okay? So we've got this. I gotta switch to this one. Look at how that spinach is really cooking down. And then the pasta is going to absorb all that liquid. So as this cooks, because this pasta is still raw, that is going to absorb in, just like this one did. This one was like that also. Right? So I'm gonna put that cover back on. And just for good measure, guess what? Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Yes, I did do some ahead of time. I did do some ahead of time. So, we're going to put more in here. This is going to be cheesy good. This is like cheesy good. Everybody in your family is going to be like, oh my gosh, you are my hero. Okay? Because it is just so darn good. Okay. So we're going to mix this all, and then, because normally this is in a skillet, I am going to then top it with a little more cheese, just to serve it. Because then I'm going to bring it to the table with the cheese on the top. And no, a lot of times I don't put it in a bowl or anything like that. I serve it right from the skillet. In my house, unless it is a holiday, sometimes even if it's a holiday, I will just serve it right from the pan. Okay? Because it all depends on how I'm feeling on said holiday too. Okay. So this, and I'm going to put this right on top, just for a minute and let that go. Okay? So, remember, it's for 30 people. Okay. They're all going like crazy here at the Rochester Council on Aging. Okay, so we're going to be serving this up in just a second. I want that to kind of melt a little bit, but we might not have it totally melt on top. So I was thinking about, okay, what do I serve alongside of this? And honestly, I was thinking salad, and I was thinking stuff like that, but there is no salad, okay? Because I was thinking, what dressing goes with ranch that isn't ranch, okay? And I couldn't think of any. I was like, gosh, I could make just like a regular, with my balsamic vinegar and all of that, vinaigrette, and I'm like, yuck, ranch dressing, balsamic vinaigrette, yuck. And then I was like, ranch, I could make a ranch dressing, right? I'm like, yuck, too much ranch. So I opted not to have a salad with this. Because I figured, you know what, it is enough with I'm looking for a tool to pick this up. I figured it was enough with just the, what is that called? Spinach. Okay? I might have to use this one. Okay. Okay, so, let's see, this is not totally, it's getting there. So, what we're gonna do. We're gonna start serving this up. So this is just like, I can't even say enough about this. This is just creamy deliciousness. Okay. And I am going to, doesn't have enough. Isn't it? It's got lots of protein in it. I do want a little pasta. Just on a plate a little bit. Just to have more greenish. Now, here's the thing. I could see all kinds of things in this recipe. Like, if you want a little red in there, why not add some tomatoes at the end? Right? So maybe grape tomatoes or something like that in there to cut up. Or at the beginning, if you want a little red, how about some red pepper? Okay? Dice up some red pepper, saute it with your chicken, and then add it. Okay? To add just a little bit more. And that's what, when I look at a recipe, people will ask me all the time, okay, you don't cook with a lot of recipes. People get upset because I don't cook with a lot of recipes. And I say, well, how do you do that? Well, I read a lot of cookbooks like models. And I just kind of take something from this one, take something from that one, and then just kind of add them together. And that's how I sometimes come up with things. Or, as I'm driving, which normally happens, I'm thinking, oh, how can I, what am I making for the Council on Aging today? Or this week? And, then the buffalo chicken comes in my head. Because this would also be good if you wanted to add the buffalo sauce. If you wanted to sprinkle some of that in there, that would be good too. Okay?
Does that water evaporate?
That water is all going to go into the pasta.
It's all going to go into the pasta.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to
She's asking about this one right over here. Okay? So actually you can start seeing it. It is starting to, got some mess with it. Okay. It is starting to absorb into the pasta, and the pasta is cooking, okay? And then it will totally absorb. That's why when I grabbed this one, I said, are we gonna have some, is it gonna be dry? Because it was sitting for a little bit. So if that happens, what I do is I just add a little more stock to it. And then just kind of get it a little bit, a little bit more liquidy and that sort of thing. So if that happens to you, that's what you want to do. Okay, but this recipe is pretty good with the way it's the half recipe instead of the full recipe that I did right here. But you can kind of follow it. And for those of you who are watching us on ORCTV or wherever, this recipe is going to be available on www.facebook.com/whatslindacooking, and it's also going to be on my blog, whatslindacooking.com. Okay? So you can look at it that way. So, I get my jobs all mixed up. But here I have, this is Linda Medeiros. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It is a good one. And I'm Linda Medeiros from ORCTV at the Council on Aging. Remember, come on down here. We're here once a month on a Monday, usually the first Monday, sometimes the second Monday. But come on down because, they're all going to be able to taste it. So, bye for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.